Talking about sex is a very interesting topic to discuss, especially if you compare it with the social and cultural responses of two different countries. First is response from the British cultural, and the second is the response of the Indonesian cultural. Today, I will explain the sex education and the meaning of the sex according to the culture and how is the social response to the sexual harassment and how it's related to Husford's theory. The first one, sex education and the cultural meaning of sex. In England, sex education from parents has been applied since childhood, and when they reach the children when they reach elementary school age, the children receive special hours or lessons for the sex education from the school. Talking about sex is a very normal thing to talk in England, and meanwhile in Indonesia, talking about sex is considered taboo even if it is for education. And the method of implementing sexual education is also comprehensive, and still abstinence only for prohibited teenagers for having sex before marriage. I mean, it's kind of a little bit threatening or to scare the teenagers mostly. What is the social response to the sexual harassment? Sexual harassment is a crime that is currently in uh, developing in society where the woman considered the weakest because they cannot defend themselves. And in this part, the man has a really high ego, and they are considered ego orientated or so high masculinity. Kato, my friend from Britain, said that sexual harassment is common because Britain is a country that has a high level of freedom, such as freedom for wearing what we want, the clothes, and expressing ourselves. For women, woman knows what to do if they are sexually harassed, and the UK also have the really strict rules of the human rights, sexual harassment services or consultation, which can be found in the government website. Meanwhile, Indonesia is experiencing really crisis of knowledge and on how to respond or how to defend ourselves against sexual harassment. Most cities in Indonesia require people to not show up our body, showing our body, and in the fact that one is not 100% sexual harassment or assault caused by our appearance. Wearing clothes is also part of the religion-based that time by time is a part of our culture. And law against sex predator are still weak, and even cases of the 50 years old religious leader married 5 women, and then the first woman he married, he divorced her because she already menopause, and then he only have 4 wives, and then the last wife he married when she was 16 years old. But there's nothing punishment, there's no law against it. And then there's a case also reported that nowadays the wife was reported to the police by her own husband because the wife was angry because the husband using the sex services. What a funny law. There is no human rights for women recently. And with the weakness of Indonesian law, most of the people choose to remain silent when they are sexually harassed. And the high patriarchal nature is one of the reasons the victims are scared to open their voice, to show up, because in Indonesia it's really hard to find the human right for women. And in the point above, I conclude that people in England think that sex education is very important to be applied in the life of long-term relationship or long-term orientation while in Indonesia, there's a misconception that people think that education will motivate children to have a sex before marriage, um, earlier and later. In addition, although England is a country that have a freedom style, uh, at least the people have a good education about the step that must be taken after they get sexual harassed, and they have also the good government services as well as a fair punishment. Meanwhile, in Indonesia, the dominant patriarchal culture causes difficulties in accessing assistance for victims and the weak punishment. For sex predators and for the pedophiles, they normalize their action as a part of its culture. Thank you so much.